I can't hear you, Natasha.
Can you hear me now, Zarha?
Yep.
Okay. Hi. Okay, so just stay there. I'm going to come back to you right now. Hi, everybody. Welcome to our first Facebook Live of many trainings. My apologies for being a little late. We had some technical difficulty with the internet, but we are in Costa Rica in the middle of the jungle, and we are going to continue doing these Facebook Live feeds. My name is Tish. I'm a holistic healing practitioner, a retreat leader, energy healer, and also a life coach. My intention why I started this group was I myself was in a very dark space with my menstrual cycle, and I didn't really know where to turn or what to do. And so I've decided to create this online sanctuary for women who want to empower and equip themselves with tools necessary to come back to the natural rhythm of their cycle. I've also had IUDs, injections. I was on the pill for many years. I was depressed. I was overweight. I was not at all connected to my womb space. And so my intention really is here to open and create a platform where we can bring in more women that can teach us about the things that is really important to us. So I would like to first start off our call today with gratitude. So I'm going to invite you to, I just want to make sure that people can see us and us. So let me just check on the group. Okay, so if you can see us and you can hear us, please just comment below so that we can know that you are here, and then we can go forward. Okay, so I invite you to place your left hand on your heart space and your right on your womb, and just close your eyes and just connect with your breath for a second. We're just going to drop into our bodies. I want you to take a deep breath, breathing in through your nose, and open your mouth as you release. And take 2 more breaths like that. Deep inhale and exhale. And now I want you to imagine that you are sending loving energy from your heart space into your womb. And I want you to feel the gratitude. I want you to feel gratitude for yourself for being a woman, and feel the gratitude for your cycle, even if it's not perfect, or perhaps you're not flowing, or perhaps there's no connection. Just feel into your womb space and send this loving energy into your womb. Do this daily by yourself. By extending gratitude and love to your womb from your heart is the first step into healing yourself, coming back into a natural cycle, connecting with your womb. Good. And I'm also going to be starting off every week with a divination, which is a oracle card reading. I've been reading cards for many years now, and today I'm going to pick a card from Doreen Virtue's Healing with Angels card. And this basically is just a card for you, inspiration and guidance for your week forward. So I'm going to choose a card, and today's card is balance. And I'll also send the photo on the thread later on. So what's coming up for me for balance is sometimes we can be so in our masculine that we forget to really connect with our feminine side, our flow side, or maybe it's the other way around. Sometimes we are so much in our feminine that we really need to get back and grounded. So the message that is in the book today says that the angels know that you are busy with many earthly demands on your time. They want to help you with your responsibilities through the process of balance. Whenever our schedule becomes disappropriate, our energy drops. Lowered energy creates the illusion that there isn't enough time in the day, so a vicious cycle of time limitation occurs. Your angels ask you to add regular doses of meditation, exercise, and play to your days. They know that balancing your life between work, play, spirituality, and exercise and relationships will help you grow and feel joy. If you feel overwhelmed by your responsibilities, don't hesitate to ask God and your angels to lift the burden. So that's just a little bit of inspiration and guidance. I really enjoy these oracle cards, and so every week I'm going to start off with a little bit of inspiration. I'm now going to introduce our beautiful host, beautiful guest, Zarha Sita. She's a very dear friend of mine. I'm so honored and grateful to have her here. We've worked together on retreats and workshops. She is a great and wonderful inspiration and a wisdom keeper. Zarha has a background in education and professional training in several modalities of healing arts. These include herbology, nutrition, fasting, and internal cleansing. She is also holds a professional license in accreditation in traditional Chinese medicine, acupuncture, Zaihatsu, and other body therapies. Welcome, Zarha. I'm so happy to see you here, sister.
Hi, sister. Hello, everybody. It was coming through, and I was missing some of what you were saying, but I think I got most of it. So.
Okay, technology in Costa Rica. Okay, so I would like for us to just start off by maybe you can share with us a few ways of how we can balance our hormones naturally. Zarha, do you hear me?
Yeah. Can you repeat that? Because it cut out, Natasha.
Hey, love. So maybe you can start off by sharing with us some ways of how we can balance our hormones naturally.
Yes, okay, definitely. One of the first things that if anyone's looking to balance their hormones, which is important for all of us, because when we have balanced hormones, everything in our body works a lot better. So the first thing that any of us can do is start with our nutrition and bringing in the healthiest, most vibrant, most vitality-filled food into our bodies so that we're getting the most out of it. We're getting the most nutrition and everything's being nourished and fed really well. And if there's been any health issues or lack of energy, issues with your reproduction or your menstrual cycles, starting out with doing some physical cleansing, cleaning the body, cleaning out the colon and the liver and the kidneys and the lymph, and allowing everything to move in a more harmonious flow is going to be really helpful with our hormones. It might not make a lot of sense how it all connects, but if all the organs and everything's working in its optimal state, then all the hormones are in balance, all the chemicals and chemistry within our body is in balance. So that's the first thing that I advise people is cleaning out, detoxing a little bit, and really focusing on nutrition. And from there, working with the hormones, there's some herbs I really like that balance both the progesterone and the estrogen. Until people hit menopause years or just before into the perimenopause years, it's typical that most people are progesterone deficient. Most people before menopause or just before menopause are not typically estrogen deficient, although there are cases for everything. So that's not 100% true across the board. But that's what I've seen is people from, starting usually in their 20s up until they're going into the perimenopause state, it's really, really common for people to be progesterone deficient. So there are some herbs that will help increase progesterone, but they won't imbalance your estrogen. And a lot of them will actually balance the estrogen also. One of the ones I like the best and has been a life changer for me personally, and I know for a lot of other people, is Vitex or chasteberry, it can be called. And it really helps. It's a little bit drying, so if there's any excess moisture or accumulations of things in the body, like damp accumulations, it can help with that, but it's also really, really good for increasing your progesterone and balancing your estrogen, and it's very effective. It takes about 6 weeks for most people to really start to kick in and be effective, see the shifts and changes that it can bring, but it is one of the best ones that I like. And as well as that is Suma. Not a lot of people are as familiar with Suma. Suma is from a root from a rainforest plant, And it also, much like Vitex, has a great effect on balancing both the progesterone and the estrogen in the body. And there were some concerns about perhaps increasing estrogen and not being safe in certain cases, such as certain cancers, breast cancers, and things like that. But most of the testing on Sumo looks like that isn't true, and it was a good thing to look into, but it seems to be perfectly safe across the board. It's also very adaptogenic, and so it's wonderful for decreasing stress, increasing immunity.
Yeah, I know. I've actually used it to increase my immune system, and it's worked wonders for me. Okay, so we had a question here from Melinda before we go on. She just to go back to the detox part, and she asked, what is a good detox to start with? What would you recommend?
Okay, I'm sorry. It's really choppy. Can you just say it one more time? I recommend for
a detox program. Where can she start, and with what type of detox program do you recommend?
Oh boy, I'm only catching like recommend.
I'll show it to you on this screen. If you look on the screen, you'll be able to see it.
Yeah, type it in.
Did you get that, Zarha?
I can't understand what you're saying.
If you look at the screen, there's a question from one of our viewers, Melinda.
I'm looking at the screen. Nothing's coming up on mine yet.
So she asked, what is a good detox to start off with?
Let's see. I'm not able to hear you completely. Can you say it one more time?
Sure.
What is a good detox to start? Okay,
yes.
It came through. A good detox. Well, it's going to depend on the person, really. So each person has a different constitution, and it depends what they're working on to heal at that time. So first, starting out with eating a really, really simple diet and perhaps some juice cleansing and lightening up, and eating just a plant-based diet is a great place to start for anybody, usually. Beyond that, it depends if you're looking for a full body cleanse, or if you're dealing with an illness, or you just want to get more energy. It's really going to depend, because there are cleanses to clean your colon and to clean your liver and to clean your kidneys, to clean your lymph system. There's cleanses where you can do all of it over a period of weeks. And then there's really deep cleansing, if you're looking to heal something like cancer or, deeper, longer set issues. So the first thing I would say is, do some juicing and lighten up your eating and switch over to a plant-based diet for a while, and perhaps consider doing some organ cleansing.
Okay, that's great. Okay, so now that we've looked at some of the herbs, is there anything else, maybe perhaps, I know some of the women have a very rigid workout routine, and that sometimes is not good for balancing the hormones. Some of them work out way too much, and that really impacts the hormones. Is there anything else that you can add onto the list of balancing the hormones naturally?
To positively affect the hormones as far as exercise. I mean, exercise is really important. Exercise, sunshine, eating well, all these really basic and essential things. And also, you have to make sure that you're not overdoing anything, because there's the issue of our adrenals, that if we push ourselves too hard, too fast, too far, or without enough rest, or with too much stress involved, we can really zap our adrenals. And if our adrenals get affected, it affects our menstruation cycles, and it affects our reproductive cycles. And so we need to be careful of that, and we need to understand that everything is a holistic design, and so everything's dependent upon each other. And if we are looking to balance our menstruation and our reproduction in this part of our life, we have to look at all of our life also to make sure that they're all balanced. Definitely some time in nature and earthing and getting your feet and your hands on the earth and getting in the sunshine, it also has a very, very positive effect on creating healthy hormones very easily and very naturally. It just takes, our dedication to doing that.
Yes, I definitely agree. I can highly resonate with definitely being in nature. I took some time. I'm about to start my moon cycle myself in the next 2 days. And Saturday evening, I actually took time just to be and sit underneath the moon and really connect with my womb space and really just drop into that energy of like asking and feeling what it is, especially in the specific phase that I am in, which is the luteal enchantress phase, where sometimes this dark energy can come out where we are very aggressive or angry or very sensitive. Just being and sitting under the moon is really so much soothing to us. And I think, we live in such a high-paced and fast-paced life that we forget to go out and just enjoy the moonlight.
Yeah, definitely.
So, okay, great. Maybe you can share with us some recommended methods of charting our cycle. And also, let's go into a little bit of deeper. I know there's some women who's already charting their cycle and some of them who has no idea what this even means. So let's start from the basics and say what it is to chart your cycle and then the reasons why we chart our cycle.
Okay. So it was a little choppy again. Let me just get it clear. You're asking me about charting our cycles and some different ways to track them?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, yeah. The ones that I typically recommend that I've found the most reliable and they're natural, they're not invasive, would be, first, getting used to tracking the cycle just in a very simple way of understanding when the first day of your moon comes, understanding when it ends. And there's some great apps, some really simple apps that you can get that can help you with it. There's one, I think it's called My Calendar, another one, Period Tracker. You can look them up. There's a whole bunch of them. And so it's just basically a format to help you start tracking. And so you start a mindfulness and an awareness of the rhythms of your body and the cycles that you go through each month. And you can even start to see, you can start tracking the moon. And that's an interesting thing, is when you track the moon and you track your own personal bodily moon and see how it's influenced and how they're syncing up or how they're in rhythm with each other. So that's one way, is working with either you're just doing it yourself, creating your own charting system, or working with an app of some kind to help track your monthly cycle. And another great one for tracking, it's not just for tracking your cycle, but this one also is an excellent way to use for natural birth control. And it's a fertility or ovulation monitor. And there's a lot of them out there. Some are less expensive, some are really expensive, fancy. It doesn't matter, as long as it works and as long as it has a good backing. I would say feel good about it. There's one, I'm trying to remember the name of it. I think it was Clear Blue is one that I know a lot of people have liked. And so this way you're getting to see, again, your monthly cycle, you're getting in tune with it, and you're also getting to see when you are fertile, and you can track that, so you can see if it's a really steady pattern for you or if you're real irregular. But you also can use these as a way to avoid having sex at the times when you would be most likely to be pregnant. And so you can see right there when you're fertile, when you're not fertile, when you're about to be fertile, when you're going to ovulate. And so that's one way. And then there's another way that's not as popular, but it's definitely getting in tune with your body. And I find it to be a definitely empowering method. And I learned this many years ago from these midwives. And so you can get speculums, the medical speculum that would be used when you go to see a gynecologist, and they insert it in you and they open it up and they look inside of you. So they typically use metal ones. There's some that you can get from medical distribution centers that are plastic and really lightweight. And you can do this with somebody else, or you can do it with yourself with a mirror. But there's a way to look at your cervix and be able to tell if you're ovulating or if you're about to ovulate by the opening, the slit, how it is shaped on the cervix when you look, and also by any of the mucus that's present there, and it's the type of mucus that it is. If it's clear and stretchy, that's definitely fertility time. So there's different ways that you can do these things, but all of them are about getting really in tune with your body and taking the time and having the commitment to track things and to tune in and to learn to understand what your own cycles are. And it's so empowering. And once we really learn that, we realize we don't really need to rely on, say something like the birth control pill, which is really unhealthy and it's really dangerous even. And it's just taking something that we can be doing ourselves. We can be having the mindfulness and the tuning in and the working with plants and different methods and different natural methods for our own empowered reproductive health.
Yes, I agree. I really like to use the moon mandala that I've created, which has every day of your cycle. And what I really like to track is 6 different things, which is your energy level. So how are you feeling? Are you dynamic? Are you sociable? Are you low? Are you feeling withdrawn? And then the emotions that's coming up. So in every single cycle, I track all of these things. And if you can do this for a period between 60 and 90 days, what happens is you'll see that the same things are coming up and you can start witnessing them. Instead of getting caught up in these emotions or depressions or feelings that's coming up, you can then prepare yourself so that you don't fall into these traps. Other things that I also track is the health in terms of how is my quality of sleep, the food cravings that I have, am I suffering from fatigue? Sexuality is a big thing for me, and all these different phases. Sometimes I want to interact more. Sometimes I feel erotic. Sometimes I feel sensual. So, and also dreams. I get vivid dreams sometimes and other times not so much. And then also, what is my outward expression like? In terms of, do I feel creative? Do I want to do a lot of exercise? How do I feel like dressing? So these are all things that, you can get into what I call the moon mandala, and I'll share that with you guys. It's a PDF, and you can start tracking this. I highly recommend it. The app that I used was created by, she's part of this, my teacher, Marinda Gray, who is a womb healer, and it's called The Flow. It's an excellent app. It actually gives you yoga asanas to do with it. It gives your partner some advice in terms of like how to treat you. And then the other one is called Period Calendar. And I'll post all of these in the thread once we finish this broadcast. And these are all free apps that you can download, and like Zarha Sita was saying, it's a great way for also making sure that you can have sex and not fall pregnant. But on the deeper level, really see what's going on. You can even track like the mucus and the thickness and all of these things, and it spits out a chart, so you can literally see how your cycle is flowing, and you can get in touch with it. So yeah, thank you, Zarha, for that. Really appreciate it. I wanted to see what information do you feel we can get from when we track our cycle in terms of our thyroid, our liver, and progesterone, and also the fertility that comes up. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, I heard, what was the very first part of that question? What regarding those things?
Yeah, what information do you see can we get from charting our cycle, if we can use it to access our thyroid, our liver, our progesterone, our fertility, and more?
Well, yeah, I mean, I really like what you were talking about, that particular app that will allow you to see the different aspects of your emotions and your body and how you're feeling, because that's a big part of it. And that's something definitely I like about wanting to track the moon also, because I can see not only my own physical moon cycle has these ebbs and these waves and these rises about them, so does our own emotional self and our mental processes and our physical process in accordance to the moon in the night sky. And so it's very interesting to do that, and then you can start to see, especially like I'll notice around the full moon where the waters rise, and I can feel that very, very much, and I feel more swollen, and I feel more sensitive, and I feel more emotional during those times. And so that's one thing with tracking, is you get much more in tune, and then you can create healthy schedules and healthy rhythms around those rising times or those low times. You have a lot of energy, you have low energy, and as far as you were asking about like the liver and the thyroid and all of that, as the cleaner the liver is, I was talking earlier about like our health and our physical health and how it affects our hormones, how it affects everything. Well, the liver itself it's a very, very fascinating organ because it has so many responsibilities. And I won't even name all the responsibilities or functions that the liver provides for us. But I will say that some of the main ones are blood production, hormone production, metabolism, digestion, and so the thyroid itself is very, very affected by the liver. And so if the liver isn't functioning properly, if it's bogged down and full of stuck energy and it needs to be cleaned out or revitalized in some way, then quite often we'll see, you know, people's energy going down and having thyroid deficiencies, and that then will affect your menstruation also. It'll affect your moods. Your serotonin tends to go down and your energy levels are lower. So going way back again to the beginning of this, of cleaning out the body and creating healthy practices and getting in tune with your body, it becomes a way of life, and a lot of the discomfort that can come around menstruation and throughout the different parts of our cycle they don't have to be there. And so when you track your cycle, you get to see, you know, what you're doing that might be out of line for you to be in harmony and balance, and you start to see where you can make adjustments, and you start to understand a little better why you feel things at certain times. And so I find it to be very, very empowering.
Yes, I can highly resonate with what you were saying in terms of just feeling the energy of the moon. So like the full moon is coming up on Friday, and I can feel my whole body heavy and swollen. And so, you know, making sure that you have the right kind of teas and you taking in the right nutrition so that, you know, you're not feeling more bloated than what you need to be. Obviously, we are women and we go through these different rhythms and cycles, so it is for us to happen. But at the same time, once we come into track these cycles, we can really help and prepare ourselves not to then go and eat fatty foods or eat huge amounts of chocolates or caffeine that's really going to make this even worse. So thank you for sharing that, Zarha. I also wanted to see what is your take on how stress impacts our cycle?
Well, stress definitely impacts our cycles. Stress, you know, whenever we are in a state of stress or we feel a lot of stress, it has a very strong, typically not very good effect on our liver. And it creates toxins in our body, and it puts actual physical stress on all of the functioning of our body. And so then it can raise, you know, different cortisol levels, and it can raise all these different chemicals in the body that interrupt the healthy flow of healthy hormonal flow in the body. And so quite often then, again, serotonin goes down and dopamine goes down, and people can feel depressed, or they can have adrenal fatigue from it, or it can start creating dysfunction in the way the hormones are produced and carried throughout the body. And so that can have a definite effect, and that's, you know, it's going to affect any aspect of life. But if you're looking at healing, you know, if you're dealing with any issues around menstruation, around your reproductive health, you want to create a healthy lifestyle across the board. So healthy food is going in your body, and you're taking time to balance your life between work and play and rest, and keeping as much of a positive mindset as you can. And all of those things are going to decrease stress, they're going to raise your immunity, and they're going to help things flow better. And as your life flows, as your life, and it's a smooth flow, there's going to be a reflection of that inside of your body, and vice versa. We're very much, you know, the same thing. What's in us is reflected outside of us, and what's going on outside of us, or what we create outside of us, is going to have a definite effect on what's going on in us. And so if we want to have smooth, easy flow, we create that in the rest of our life. And so, yeah, decreasing stressful things out of our life is key. It's super important.
Yes, I highly agree. I remember when I was still working in corporate, I used to be in finance and worked an office job. And I realized that sometimes when the heat would get so much at certain times of the month, I would even skip a menstruation, and that would make my next month even worse. So if we can come to a place where we can actually take time, and I know that not most women can take the day off, a day or two before they start, but just really starting to become aware of when you are so stressed out, make yourself a nice bath with rose petals and essential oils. Just really do yoga that you can calm the nervous system, and at the same time the parasympathetic nervous system, so that you can really drop into that space of feeling grounded and feeling nourished and feeling loved. And also a lot of times when I was traveling way too much, I would skip periods. So that's also something that you can look into, making sure that you take care of your cycle and making sure that you have the right things to assist you in having a smooth cycle. So yeah, Zarha, is there anything else that you wanted to add to our little live broadcast? I know we had some difficulty with this whole internet thing, but I'm so grateful that you're here. Perhaps there's something else that you would wish to share with us?
So choppy. Did you ask me if there's anything else I want to add?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Somebody had asked earlier if we were going to say anything as far as balancing hormones regarding women who are in their menopausal years. And that's when usually estrogen does become deficient. And that's when, so if you can think of estrogen in a sense, this is very, very simplified, but estrogen, it increases things. It tends to create, more swelling. It creates fat or weight on things. It creates a bit of abundance and excess. And so if your estrogen excess, quite often there's gain and swollen breasts and headaches and maybe too much, maybe edema in the body. And then if you're estrogen deficient, it's the opposite. It tends to dry things up, and that's when we'll see hot flashes and changes in the vision, because the liver, there's less blood nourishing the liver, and the blood of the liver nourishes the eyes, and so quite often vision starts changing at that time. And there can be, tight headaches and dryness and insomnia. And so to heal that, or to treat that, to remedy it, there are some herbs that are really, really good. And so for any women out there who are dealing with menopausal symptoms such as hot flashes or insomnia or dryness or anything like that, dong guai, it's a Chinese herb, and it's an excellent one for helping build blood and nourish the estrogen in the body. It's found quite often in Chinese markets, or there's a couple herb supply stores online that sell it. That's a great one. Dong guai is what it's called. And add to that, black cohosh is another one, really, really good for menopausal years, as is licorice and gotu kola. And any of the ones that I mentioned earlier that balance both of them are still good in those times also. So the evening primrose oil and the vitex and the red raspberry. Another one also that's really good if there's estrogen deficiency is not ashwagandha, shatavari, I was going to say. It's an Ayurvedic herb, and that's an excellent one also. So just, I wanted to touch on that to make sure that any of the women who are here that might have that question, that it was answered for them. And the other thing I add is, as we're talking about hormones and balancing the hormones naturally, that means not putting any synthetic hormones or hormone disruptors into our body. And so looking at synthetic birth control pills and IUDs and patches and things like that disrupt the natural flow of hormones and create a change in that through the introduction of synthetic chemicals and synthetic hormones into the body, that has to really be looked at. And ultimately, if you want to heal your reproductive health and your menstrual health and your whole body, I highly recommend taking those things out of your life and out of your body. And so if you're concerned about how do you practice birth control without taking the pill or having an IUD, there are natural birth control methods, and they've been used for a really long time, and many of them are effective as long as they're used properly. And so looking into that, a couple of them are neem oil and carrot seed oil. And definitely I recommend using these types of things in conjunction with the fertility monitors and some other tracking methods, so that you're also tuning in and working with your own cycles. But getting off of the synthetic hormones, or some of the hormones that are given later into the menopausal years, those synthetic hormones, there are replacements for those also. There are definite natural alternatives to all of that. And so reclaiming your health and having an empowered healthy reproductive system, it's going to mean that you're natural and that your body's clean and you're not taking in any of the synthetics.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Zarha. I just wanted to let all of our listeners know that I will also be posting all of the herbs and everything that Zarha spoke about today on the group so that you can do a little bit research yourself. And then, yeah, I encourage you to start diving in deeper and start taking these herbs and things that really can assist you in getting your cycle up and healthy. I'm also going to be offering a free ebook to all of the women that's in the group. So if you would like that, I'll share the link with you. It's called Menstruation. And in there, I talk about and I give you some ideas and tips on how to have a natural cycle, what type of products to use, anything in between. It's part of a workshop that I offer here in Costa Rica, and I'll be more than happy to share that with you, and I'll share the link with you at the bottom. So I think that's going to be it for today. I'm really excited to start the series. It's super new for me. I'm like having to break through my own stuff, and I'm just really honored and grateful for you being all of you here. It's been so amazing to see some of the faces and the people that I do know. Thank you for taking the time. Zarha, from the bottom of my heart, sister, I love you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you very much.
Thank you so much, my love. Thank you, everybody who was here today. I'll send you all of the links, and I hope to see you next week. Thank you. Namaste.
All right. Thank you, Tish. Thank you, everybody. Many, many blessings. Ciao.
Ciao.